Hey, Amazon sellers. I want to share something that can completely change the way you run your business. For the last decade, I've built a world-class Amazon team that's helped me sell over $50 million on the platform and scale multiple seven-figure brands. Now, that same team and process is available to help you build, grow, and scale your Amazon business. This is not a course. It's not a DIY program. It's done for you Amazon growth handled by proven experts. We handle everything from listing optimization and SEO to PPC, inventory, catalog management, promotions, review strategy, compliance, and new product launches, so you can focus on running your business while we handle the rest. If you're ready to turn your Amazon channel into a profit machine, visit the link in the show notes, calendly.com/firingtheman/Amazon, and book a time to see if this is a good fit for you.
Welcome everyone to the Firing the Man podcast, a show for anyone who wants to be their own boss. If you sit in a cubicle every day and know you are capable of more, then join us. This show will help you build a business and grow your passive income streams in just a few short hours per day. And now your hosts, serial entrepreneurs David Schomer and Ken Wilson.
Welcome to Firing the Man, the podcast for entrepreneurs and business builders ready to break free from the grind and step into ownership that actually scales. I'm your host, David Schomer, and today's guest is someone who's rewriting the rules of digital marketing, especially for industries most people overlook. Meet Chris Seminatore, founder of Get Geofencing, a specialized marketing agency that's helped over 350 businesses across the U.S. and Mexico generate real measurable results through location-based advertising. With more than 7 years in the geofencing space, Chris has built a seven-figure agency from the ground up without a single dollar of outside funding. But what makes his story even more compelling is where it started. Before digital marketing, Chris spent 5 years in the U.S. Navy, supporting special forces during operations like Desert Storm and Desert Shield. That experience shaped the discipline, precision, and no-nonsense mindset he brings into business. Today, Chris applies that same military-level strategy to marketing, helping companies target the right people in the right place at the right time. From funeral homes to political campaigns, he's built a reputation for turning the unsexy industries into highly profitable opportunities without relying on traditional ad platforms or bloated marketing tactics. In this episode, we'll dive into why location-based marketing might be the next gold rush, how Chris built a referral-only agency to 350 clients, and the exact mindset shift that helped him go from imposter syndrome to running a remote seven-figure business from Mexico. If you're tired of guessing with your marketing and want strategies that actually convert, this episode is going to hit different. Let's fire it up with Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, David. It's a pleasure to meet you, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to start things off, can you share with our audience a little bit about your background and your path in the entrepreneurial world?
Okay. I was an ex-Navy spook. Went to intelligence training at Fort Devens, Massachusetts, shipped out to Misawa, Japan. What we did was provide direct support out of 57 Division, Go Catfish. And anyway, we ended up in the first ship I got on, and we ended up in the Gulf, which was at that time Desert Shield. Then it turned into Desert Storm, and then it turned into Poised Hammer. And then really got very familiar with the technology that's used today it's used for marketing purposes as opposed to what we had used it for previously, which was to identify personnel and platforms through electronic signatures, figure out where they are and who they are. We didn't ask why.
Very good. Very good. Now, you've built a seven-figure agency with zero outside funding. What were the key decisions that allowed you to scale without relying on capital?
The key decisions were really placing an emphasis on the client, forming a relationship with the client, doing everything that you can for the client, Updating reporting procedures, giving the client access to their own customer dashboards. Things of that nature is what really helped us stand above and beyond any of the competition that we had. Plus, the people that we have actually working on the campaigns are the people that they're talking to. We don't really have a sales force, so to say.
Okay. That sounds good. Now, geofencing is something that is a relatively new term to me, and I would assume most of our listeners. Can you explain what exactly that is and how that relates to marketing today in 2026?
Absolutely, David. What geofencing is we put a digital parameter around a physical location, and then we're able to capture the location reader from the cell phone. It's the exact same backbone that Uber uses. So whenever you call an Uber, you know how the Uber shows up right where you're at? Exact same thing. Now, once we have that information from the cell phone, then we're able to start distributing ads programmatically. And what that means is like whenever a targeted user rolls up on a website or an app, we have algorithms that bid on the available advertising inventory of that website or app. And that gives us the ability to be able to place ads whatever website or app that targeted user is accessing. So it enables us to be able to get in front of a very targeted market. And location is the strongest indicator of buying intent. When somebody goes to a car dealership, they're looking to buy a car. If somebody goes to a restaurant, they're looking to eat. So we utilize that for our advertising so it doesn't waste ad spend. We get in front of a very targeted market, targeted audience.
That sounds good. Okay, that makes sense. And can you give an example of, and I would say most of the people listening are involved in e-commerce. And so can you provide an example of a company that you've worked with? You don't need to name the name, but what they were selling and what strategy you put in place to ramp up marketing efforts?
Well, Amazon, just talking to Amazon sellers, Amazon loves traffic that comes from outside of Amazon and goes to these specific seller websites. They love that. And what it does is increases the strength in the algorithm, gets you closer to the top. And so we work with a lot of different Amazon sellers and driving traffic to their website on Amazon. And what they do is they use, location-based strategies. Like say you sell outdoor equipment or something along those lines. Then what we could do is we could geofence like a Bass Pro Shop. Now, everybody going to that Bass Pro Shop probably has an interest in outdoor equipment. So you've already got that affinity right there. And by putting those ads in front of the people that go to these specific locations, then they go to the Amazon and they check out, that product or service that's being offered. Product, I guess, in Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then by introducing that outside traffic to your Amazon page, you're actually going to increase your ranking in your algorithm. Amazon loves outside traffic.
Yes, they do. And I think this is something that a lot of Amazon sellers need to be thinking about is PPC, pay-per-click advertising within the Amazon platform has gotten so stinking competitive. And I know a lot of sellers, and I have been one of these sellers at times that are selling at break even. It just seems like the price of keywords, the supply and demand for keywords always reaches equilibrium. And it's a bummer for those selling on the platform. And so, no, I think that's a really good thing to mention. And there are a lot of Amazon sellers listening. So now you've said it when I was preparing for this interview, I was doing some research and you said Facebook ads are dying, which I got to tell you, Chris, kind of bummed me out because I can look at my credit card statement and see what I'm currently paying on Facebook ads. But I want to hear your opinion. What's actually happening in digital marketing right now, and why is geofencing becoming a new opportunity?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to badmouth Facebook. They're a very effective social platform. God bless them. Big fan, actually. But with the advent of so many different social channels, I mean, everything from Instagram to TikTok to Twitter to, all these different social channels, the market's getting segmented. A lot of the ways that you've seen it with broadcast television. I don't remember back in the days when broadcast television, you had 3 or 5 channels and you would just flip through and then, whatever was on there was on there. I think social media is kind of experiencing the same type of pattern that broadcast television followed from now to, from then till now. And so you're seeing more splintered audiences. You're seeing, ads not perform as well as they used to because people are seeking out different platforms and whatnot that are associated with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you've got a different demographic there as well.
Absolutely. Now, are you using geofencing in conjunction with something like Facebook ads?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the more marketing channels you have, the better.
Yeah.
And that is honest to God truth because marketing channels work synergistically. Somebody will see you on Facebook and then somebody will see you on Fox News and then somebody will see you. You want to touch somebody as many times as you can. And I think people underestimate the impact that advertising has. It just says that, these are just ads. But one thing you have to remember is that the only reason that you have television, the only reason that you have internet is because of advertisers. That's a way for them to reach, their audiences. And so take that into consideration. Also, what advertising does is it breeds familiarity. When somebody sees a television commercial, they know that that's, that business is, that product or that service is for real. They know that they're doing it. It gives them an instant credibility and it gives them a familiarity. Now, if you can work with that and then incorporate that with a brand, then you've got a winner. I mean, you really do have a winner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned funeral homes, which would be that to me makes perfect sense with this geofencing, right? The funeral home, presumably, if you have a loved one pass away in that community, that would be the place to go to. Now, I have, and I'm going to give a real example that I'm working through right now. I am selling a product for turkey hunters, which is a pretty niche market. Now, I've identified the top 10 states that have the most turkey hunting licenses purchased. And that data is helpful, kind of, but how can I turn that information into a more tactical marketing strategy?
Well, one of the things that you have to do is identify the locations that turkey hunters would go to. These would probably be like shooting ranges. These may be outdoor pro shops, things of that nature, gun stores, things of that nature. Once you identify those locations, then what we can do is go ahead and build an audience by people that attend those locations. Now you're getting your turkey hunting accessory in front of a very targeted audience. And even where they get the licenses for turkeys, we could geofence that as well for turkey hunting. Those offices.
And then I would engage with, so they're going to Bass Pro Shops to buy their licenses. So then I would reach out to Bass Pro Shops to get my marketing there.
No, you reach out to Chris.
There we go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then what we do is we put a digital parameter, just using Bass Pro Shop as an example. And then what we're going to do is we're going to collect everybody that physically goes to that Bass Pro Shop. And then we're going to start putting ads in front of them.
There we go.
3 to 5 ads a day, whatever websites or apps that they access. Like I said, we cover about 94% of the internet.
Okay. This is starting to click for me. So we identify, so Texas is the number 1 state for turkey hunting. So we'd identify the Bass Pro Shops. We'd call Chris, say, Chris, these are our hot locations. And then would it be you that would be helping out with the existing Facebook ads or how exactly does that work?
Yeah, we've got a design team here. Essentially, all we would need is an image that we'd like to feature in a 3 to 5 word headline on the ad. And you want to keep things as simple and direct as possible. You're using an image just to capture attention. For people to glance at it, be like, oh, I'm a turkey hunter. Show a turkey hunter or a turkey being, whatever you want to show. And then put, whatever, a 3 to 5 word headline, be very direct, very simple. And then those are going to breed your best ads. They really are. You don't want to look at an ad that's being, clever or cute and try to guess at it. Now, when you get into video and CTV, those are a little bit different because you got to have a hook on that first 3 seconds. We do video and TV as well. So,
okay. That's
another thing I want to bring up before I forget, David, is that when they take their cell phone home and they dock it on a Wi-Fi network, then we can deliver ads to any device that's connected to that Wi-Fi network, including television. So, like, say, just using your turkey hunting accessory again, say you ran a CTV campaign with us, those people would go to that Bass Pro Shop, and then when they come home, they would see commercials for your turkey hunting accessories. I'm having a hard time saying turkey hunting accessories. So, but then they're going to see it on television.
That is interesting. So
Yeah, you're not going to waste that spend.
You hear about people, and it seems like the algorithm is dishing you up what's on your mind. A classic example, I talked to my wife in the morning about, hey, I think your right front tire might be running low. We need to check it. Do you know where the pressure gauge is? An hour later, I'm on Facebook Marketplace or Facebook, and I see ads for pressure gauges. And so that's not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is more of the locations that people are going.
Right. Like, say, you went to, AutoZone to, previously to look for another, car repair thing. And then say we had a geofence around AutoZone. Now, what we'd be able to do is we start sending you ads and, depend upon, what you're looking for, we could put those in front of you. It uses location as opposed to, I know what you mean, man, because it seems like sometimes, they're listening to you. So I don't put it past them either. I really don't. Privacy is something that we gave up a long time ago, and people don't realize that. If you want to get a little bit of the political spectrum, Maryland and Washington just banned geofencing, and they put it under the cloak of privacy, which doesn't make any sense because you can still get an Uber in Washington and Maryland. So I dug a little bit deeper, and what it is the politicians that wrote the legislation dealing with the banning of geofencing in Maryland and Washington are all supported by very large businesses. And so to be able to advertise like in, say, Maryland or Washington, you have to have a heck of a budget. Where with geofencing, you can have a targeted audience and you're not wasting ad dollars. So essentially what that did was uneven the playing field between small local businesses and large brands.
That is very interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah, politicians lie to you, man. They do.
They do. Yeah, we're in alignment there. So I also, in my research, came across you discussing competitor stalking strategy. So how can businesses ethically and legally target their competitors' customers?
Absolutely. Like say, one of the things that we've done, one of the most effective ways that you can, like say you're a restaurant and you've got a lot of different restaurants behind you or around you. I'm sorry. And what you can do is you can target those competitor restaurants, build an audience by people physically going to those competitor restaurants, and then put your name out in front of these people that are coming to this area that are going to restaurants. You're not wasting ad spend. You're hitting a very targeted audience that you've got a very good chance of them coming to your restaurant once they're aware that it's there. Mm-hmm. It's a very strong marketing technique for restaurants, bars, things of that nature. Yeah.
That makes sense. And it kind of benefits everybody, right?
It really does. They may not have known that restaurant was there. Now they've got a new favorite restaurant.
Yeah. Now you've worked in industries most people ignore, like funeral homes, plasma centers. Why do unsexy industries often outperform trendy niches?
Well, in the case of funeral homes, some of the different places that we geofence is like hospice centers, things that are, locations where people are looking in at that transition. And a lot of times, both my parents passed away. So a lot of times you're not very familiar with the experience. So you're looking for answers or information kind of to help you guide through this situation. And with advertising for funeral homes, what that does is it allows us to, put ads in front of people that are going through this experience and then offering information and offering options and alternatives for them. That's the case of funeral homes. Yeah. For blood drive centers, that was a great one because essentially, you can target people like at college campuses and whatnot that want to sell their blood for money, their plasma for money. So, I don't know if you went to college or not, but when I was in college, man, $50 was a lot.
Oh yeah, I was one of those poor college students that did sell my plasma. It might have been one of your ads, BioLife Plasma.
It
So
might have been. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, yeah.
yeah, what?
So I guess to get to boil down to the point, what it is that you're offering information and options to people that are attending these different locations or who might have an affinity toward that, toward that information or those options. They didn't know they were available and more information about it, things of that nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now you've scaled to 350 plus clients without cold calling.
Mm.
How did you do it? And if you were to start from zero, how would you replicate it?
Um, how we did it, I had a little bit of money. We started with a pay-per-click campaign just at the very, very, very beginning. And then we got our first couple of clients, and then we just treated them like gold, man. I'm not going to say there wasn't mistakes made because whenever you start any business, at the very beginning, there's a learning process or a learning curve associated with the product or service that you're offering. And so you got to kind of have some grit to you. And you got to get through it. And from that first client to that 10th client, there's going to be a major difference or change in the way that you're operating your business. And that is just the honest to God truth. And what you want to do is you want to take experience and learn from every one of them. And every client that you manage to get is just a piece of gold, and you got to treat it as such as well. Show them the results, show them what's happening, be very transparent, be very honest with them. Okay, hey, I don't know how many times I've said, hey, this ad isn't working. It's not resonating with the crowd. So what we've got to do is we've got to change up the image. We've got to change up the message, things of that nature. We also implement what they call sequential marketing as well. And what that does is we build a pool of people that have received an ad. So then when we have that pool is we try to have a more urgent messaging associated with that second ad that we show them. Like right now we're doing a recruiting campaign, for a landscape company. And what we're seeing with sequential marketing is that by putting urgency or a time, the second message or the ad that we would show them would be, hey, spaces are running out. There's not going to be many more of these jobs left, and we see a dramatic increase with the sequential marketing efforts that we use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any like referral program or any secret sauce that's helped you, or is it just delivering great value to clients?
Building relationships, delivering great value, working with people, showing that you care about their business, understanding that, being very transparent with them, showing them exactly what's going on with their campaigns, offering ideas to try to increase performance, things of that nature is what we've really done.
Okay.
And it's paid off in spades. It really has.
Okay.
When I started up the agency, I got a bunch of friends that own businesses as well, and so I brought them on in, and they're joking around because they had a lot of money at the time, so they're just okay, let's see what we got, and then working with that, making through your mistakes, apologize for them, saying how you fixed them, and just kind of going from there is basically the way we started out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you've mentioned a $1,000 marketing test. What is that, and how can entrepreneurs use it to quickly validate or kill an idea?
Yeah, what you want to do is you want to see what type of response that you're going to be getting from the locations that you have geofenced and how the ad is performing. The data is going to tell you exactly. There's no way to mask that. I mean, for industry standards, you want to have a 0.10 or above click-through rate, a CTR, and then anything above that, like we've got a lot of campaigns that are doing 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Campaigns, video and video goes way higher. CTV, you don't really get that feedback. You can tell exactly where your ads have been shown, but there's no interaction with it. What you want to do with CTV is just increase brand awareness, and you want to follow that up with a targeted display campaign. And what that's going to do, it's going to make people familiar with your brand or product or service on TV. And then when they see it on a targeted display campaign, then they're going to have more of they're going to be more apt to click on it and go through it. So you want to use all these different marketing channels in conjunction to really get your product or service out there. And one thing I can tell you for sure, David, is that if you have a business with a great product or a great service, but no advertising. And then you have a business that has a, okay product, okay service with advertising. I will always bet on the business with the advertising.
Hey guys, I want to take a minute to thank today's sponsor, the book Cash Flow by Scott Brandley and DJ Sprague. I've spent the last decade building e-commerce brands and over 20 years running businesses. So I've read a lot of books on growth and profitability. Most of them explain the problems, but they don't give you many real-world solutions. Cash flow is different. This book uncovers the hidden leaks inside your business, things like false payment declines, friction in your checkout, missing trust signals, and operational inefficiencies that quietly crush your conversion rate. And a lot of these losses never even show up on your P&L. I'm a retired CPA and I review my numbers constantly. And even I had a few aha moments reading this book. If you run an e-commerce business, this is one worth checking out. There's a link in the show notes where you can grab a copy of Cash Flow, CASHFLO, and learn how to start plugging those hidden profit leaks. Now, back to the episode.
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. And it seems as though I've met a lot of entrepreneurs that have the skill set to make a great product, or they have the skill set to be great at sales and marketing. And very infrequently do those skill sets overlap. And so I have talked to some people with outstanding products that just cannot get the sales and marketing train rolling. And so that's I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. Now, who would your typical client be?
A typical client, right now we currently have like 1,031 active campaigns. Man, we span the spectrum all the way from political campaigns to funeral services to auto repair to, man, you name it. It's all over the place. We've had some strange clients too, man. We've been in business over 7 years. One of the stranger clients that we had this attorney that represented human traffickers, people that got in trouble for human trafficking. And I was like, this is a kind of a strange deal. And then we noticed that because we can tell when somebody that was receiving ads goes to our client's place of business. And this guy, it was in Texas, and he had this truck stop way up in North Texas. I mean, in the middle of nowhere. And when he gave us the address, I was like, man, there's nothing around here, but we geofenced it. And then we noticed that there was a lot of people going from that truck stop in the middle of nowhere down to his offices in Houston. And so I don't know if the guy was working both sides of the fence or what he was doing, but man, it was pretty wild. Man. It was pretty wild. Stuff like that, man. Yeah. We've done recruiting campaigns for people who want to be guards in mental asylums up in San Francisco and things like that. I mean, there's some big ass that you get sometimes, man. It's kind of cool. It kind of keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, before we started recording, you had mentioned that you're running your business from Mexico, yep. And I would say, I'm a digital nomad. I can travel anywhere with my laptop and work, as is my wife, and that's something we take a lot of pride in. I would imagine, from operating out of Mexico, you've set up systems, teams, and operations to not have a centralized location. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We have offices or sales reps in Los Angeles and New York, and then we've got a back end that fully supports that are all over the place.
Okay. And any pro tips on building up your virtual workforce, your virtual operations, anything that has really been helpful as you've been doing that?
Man, make sure you screen people very, very carefully. Stay away from Upwork, stay away from Fiverr. I don't mean to dog on them, but man, every time that we've hired somebody in that manner, we've never had good luck, man. We really haven't. Look at reviews a lot. If they do have a business that, does, provides different services for, digital nomads. Man, look at the reviews, call them up. How do you feel when you talk to them? Get them on screen so you can look at them, things of that nature. We hired this goofball from Philippines that I wish we'd have never done because we ended up getting our site hacked. And I'm pretty sure it was him that had something to do with it. I can't really prove it, but it got hacked by some kind of Pakistani sex site or something like that. And it really messed us up for a couple of months, man, because then Google thought we were a Pakistani sex site. And I'm like, no, man. So
Yeah,
that took a lot to get that fixed up. That was a tough road to hoe, man. He really messed us up bad. And I'm pretty sure it was him, but I can't really prove it.
yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
Be very careful, man. Verify. If you're going to let anybody have access to your website or to any of your different systems or platforms, verify. Hey, I want to talk with somebody that you work with. Things of that nature. You got to investigate this because there's a lot of bad actors in that field. You got to be really careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, for e-commerce brands or local businesses listening right now, what's one actionable way they can start using location-based marketing this month?
Well, depending upon their product, if there are locations that people use their product go to, like let's say turkey hunting accessories, Bass Pro Shops is where they get their license issued at in Texas. Geofence those Bass Pro Shop the locations. Get that audience that's actually physically going to that location because those are your turkey hunters, man. I mean, people can search around about turkey hunting. You're going to get a lot of people that are just interested in it. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, I think turkey hunting would be kind of cool, but these are people that are actually going to get their licenses. I mean, these are your turkey hunters. And use that to your advantage. If you have competitors that offers the same product or service. Where you're at, geofence them, get in front of their audience. Because if you can get known by the people that attend those locations and then offer a better price, a better service, a better product, you're going to win because they're all going to be curious. Mm-hmm. You've identified an audience that is physically getting up out of their house, going to a place and, seeing, whatever that product or service is.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, this has been a really interesting interview and really opened my eyes to a new way or a better way of marketing. And I really appreciate your time today. Before we close out the show, we have something called the Fire Round. It is 4 questions that we ask everybody at the end of the episode. Are you ready?
I am, sir.
All right. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book? That's a good question, man. Probably Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter Thompson. Yeah. I love that book, man. I'm a big Hemingway fan, too. I love Hemingway. I love to read. I'm reading all the time, but now that my eyes gotten a little bit worse for wear, I listen to a lot of Audible books. Right now, I'm listening to the Book of Enoch, which is, wow, that's a crazy book, man. God was pretty angry. The Book of Enoch was kicked out of the New Testament for just being too crazy.
No kidding.
It goes into a lot of description about the angels coming down and having sex with the apes at the time or something like that. And it was wild because one of the things that brings up, it was Old Testament. And then there was New Testament, which was, forgiveness and everything like that. A whole bunch of different, mentality was involved with that. And then I read this one philosopher, I can't remember his name. He goes, man will have the God that he deserves. And that just kind of made a lot of sense to me,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So because I couldn't realize why God was so angry here and then he was so kind in that one. And that kind of answered that for me. So, yeah.
I'll have to check that one out.
Absolutely.
What are your hobbies?
I have a motorcycle, a 2015 Harley Softail. Her name's Black Sunshine. Love riding there. I do yoga every morning. That helps out. Wake up in the morning and do breathing exercises. If you ever get a chance, check out a cat named Wim Hof. It teaches you about breathing and all that and how important it is and how oxygenating the blood is essential to be able to think clearly. Yoga helps out with the flexibility. I lift weights about 3-4 times a week as well. I love lifting weights. I put on my headphones, listen to a bunch of Metallica and just get mad and lift weights.
There you go. There you go. I love it. Yeah. What is one thing you do not miss about working for the man?
Working for the man. I've only worked for the man 3 times in my life. In the Navy, I was a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley in Beverly Hills, and I sold doors in downtown LA. And the thing I don't miss is I would get mad because I'd have ideas that would increase their profitability, sometimes dramatically. Just to give you a quick story about that, I didn't have any friends or family when I was a financial advisor in Beverly Hills. And so what I did was I went down to Boeing, which is they've got offices down there. And I was sitting there chatting up the secretary, and then she had to go use the restroom. And I noticed that they had the employee handbook right there. So I kind of borrowed that. And then I went back, and so I started calling Boeing employees saying, hey, it was time to reassess their 401ks because of the changing markets and all that. So then everybody kind of thought that I worked for Boeing. So then I was able to build a big book, that I was in the top 5% of sales at Morgan Stanley. So yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. That's a really good story.
Yeah,
it's gritty. Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I don't like, because I don't like people making a lot of money off my efforts, and I always like, why should they be making money? Why am I not making money? It's never really occurred to me. That's why I've had so many different businesses. I've pretty much always been self-employed.
Mm. Yeah. Final question. What do you think sets apart successful entrepreneurs from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Successful entrepreneurs from people that give up, fail, and never get started. I'll tell you one thing, a little tidbit of advice on that. If you're going to fail fast. Don't let it drag out, man, because that is just the worst. Because I've had businesses that just a slow death, man, and it is just awful. And then you get to this point where, like, I can't give up these offices, I can't, give up these employees and things like that. My advice: if you make a decision that you don't want to, you're not seeing the things that you want to see, just end it and get to the next one. That's huge advice. But on the other end of that coin, on the other side of that coin, you've got to have determination. If you think what you're doing is right, and you really believe in your product and service and the value that it offers to clients, then stick with it, because you're going to have trials and tribulations no matter how good everything is. There's going to be problems. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that take into consideration is problem solving is 90% of being an entrepreneur or a business owner. Look at them as problems, identify the problem, be aware of what the problem is. Don't hide, put yourself on, put your head under a sheet or anything like that. Once you identify the problem, then start looking for solutions to that problem.
Yeah.
And meditate on it, man. I meditate every day. And, find creative solutions to solve problems, and you will be successful as an entrepreneur or a business owner.
That's an outstanding answer and a good one to end on. Now, Chris, if people are interested in getting in touch with you, what's the best way?
Go to getgeofencing.com and schedule a Zoom call with us, man, because what we'll do is we'll take a look at your business, find out exactly what you want to accomplish, and then see if we can offer solutions to help you accomplish those objectives.
Okay.
Getgeofencing.com.
Sounds good. Good. Chris, thank you so much for your time today, and looking forward to staying in touch.
All right. I hope I brought some value to you, man, David. It's a real pleasure meeting you, and I really appreciate the opportunity of being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Before you go, we wanted to share a new service that Ken and I have been using called Getita that has made us over $10,000 in Amazon reimbursements. The service requires no monthly subscription, and Getita collects a small percentage of the money they recover for you. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up and works on all Amazon marketplaces. Go to Getita.com, Getida.com, and enter promo code FTM400. That's FTM for Firing the Man 400 to get your first $400 in reimbursements commission free. How much money does Amazon owe you?